We are the promised people. We are the people who were promised for this promised land. Everybody worldwide. We are the promised people. We are the people. Yes, so welcome to the promised land.
Welcome, everyone. And this is the 5th episode in a continuing series of informal, deep dialogue conversations. And Nathan and I are having a heart-to-heart. And we welcome everyone to join us as we think about the deepest issues facing our human family across the planet. Sometimes we turn to the USA example because we happen to be here, but this is not about the USA. It's not about, so-called meltdown of democracy or any of the drama that's taking place. It's about the human, being a human. So Nathan, what's coming up for you? This 5th episode of Breaking the Trance. We have spent the last 4 episodes speaking about the trance as a mind-operating software that people have not been aware of, can't be aware of. It makes us aware. It gives us information. It gives us content. It gives us feeling. It gives us a psychology and so forth. But we can't see it because we're in it. And the great teachers of the planet and scriptures are calling us somehow to step back, break the circuits. The founding of 1776. We can easily miss it if we're listening to it in here and not seeing they're listening to the wisdom of the planet and the zeitgeist of the times, that God is calling us, that we the people and so forth. So we saw that there's a trance that's holding humanity across the planet. And our intent is to bring the wisdom and the medicine of source science, the logos science, of rationality, rational light and power, whatever name we call what is the first. There is one profound unum. This is a more perfect unum, not here. This is the demos, the people. Demos from the Greek meaning the people. Demosocracy, the rule of the people, the consent of the governed, the qualified people, the persons. Not everyday, homo sapiens. Just because you're born into the human flesh, it doesn't mean you've matured from being an adolescent stage, matured as a rational being into being a person, a first person. A rational, competent, critical being that can see and mind your minding and realize that that's what ethics and being a human and a person, but inalienable rights, not automatically. Everyone here, yes, you have it here, but you have to earn it in a way by becoming mature and becoming, where are the adults in the room? In this room, where are the adults? So we've been asking questions like these, Not, and I mean, throw the ball to you. What's coming up for you in this drama, in the 5th episode of Breaking the Trance?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I like how you added the infinity sign at the bottom of the double.
Notice.
That's perfect. It's now complete. It's a complete, it's a complete image. It was leaking out the bottom.
I know. This is a new. If anyone watching here, you see, this is the first time in my life I've done this. I usually do it there. So, you know what? You put it here too.
So
it's a mirror image, yeah.
Most importantly, that's what I'm noticing. So obviously, well, right now we find ourselves in the 2nd week of February and of 2025, and things definitely have this real sense. I've been feeling there's a sense of accelerating intensity for as long as I can remember, but something feels like it's really exponentially accelerating now. That's a little redundant. Acceleration is exponential, but it seems to me like if it's the Titanic that's sinking, it's past the part where the water's just gushing in the bottom and nobody knows, and now it's more like it's coming into the living quarters, to use that analogy. But thinking about our journey, I love that we chose the name Breaking the Trance because to me that really sums up, no matter what we're talking about, it's about breaking the trance. What does that mean? Another way of saying that is pause, everybody stop. Everyone's shouting over each other. Pause, everybody stop. Pull yourself out of the VR goggles here. Take the VR goggles off for a second. We're sucked in. It's like that's the trance. We're sucked into the fire hose of news and information and disinformation, as we've covered in previous episodes. We're like entranced. Our attention is disoriented. We're hypnotized into this space where it does not make us bad people. It makes us what's the word I'm looking for? Incapacitated. We're incapacitated as a people. When we talk about democracy, that word gets thrown around so much, but if you just look at the root of it, as you said, Dad, the democracy is government of, for, and by the people. Demos, where's the people? That's where we really kind of felt the energy was today in our pre-show discussion. The demos, the people. Where are the people? Well, the people are hypnotized, entranced, overwhelmed, scared, panicking, disoriented, shattered, separated, siloed. We're not a people. We're not the demos right now. We're we're incapacitated on an individual level and on a community level. Of course, we live here in the United States of America, but this is a global situation.
Right. This is important. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah. And so why we might focus or bring in what's going on right here in the United States of America as a leader, supposedly, in what it means to have a government of and for and by the people, we're clearly as far from we the people as we can be right now. It's a perfect disunion, as you said in our earlier conversation. And so
keep going. This is important. I'd like you to elaborate that now. You're doing very well.
Well, we started that podcast all the way back in, I think, 2021, early 2021, a perfect union as opposed to a more perfect union, because we realized, that there's no ... ad infinitum to get to this quote unquote perfect union. So, but we decided to defy that and say, no, a perfect unum, a perfect union is a polis, a people who are united in their diversity, as you see on the top of your hologram there, e pluribus unum pluribus. To have common ground, to be one people does not mean to be a melting pot. It doesn't mean we're all the same. It's not a homogenization of difference. Actually, it's what enriches the pluribus part of e pluribus unum, the many, the difference, the diversity, the variety, as we see, is the defining characteristic of the universe is difference and diversity and nature. And so it's like humans with all of their capacity and all of their rational powers, which obviously, our accomplishments are mind-blowing across the spectrum of the human experience, whether it's space travel or medicine or the arts and sciences, music and movies and just all of it. We're so advanced in so many ways, but we have not become the demos yet. In that upper space, in the double bracket sense, and that's the problem. See, that's the problem. We're stuck in this shattered, scattered version of the people or the sheeple, who we're not breaking the trance, stepping back from the VR goggles, hitting pause, and putting what's first, which is each of our responsibility, which is to realize that I'm not automatically granted, rational balance and maturity. I'm not automatically an adult. I'm not automatically a person worthy of voting. I may legally have the right to vote, but are we worthy to vote? And what is that? What does that mean?
That's very good. Say more. You're doing well. You're on a roll here.
Yeah.
Worthy, you can be, just because you're a homo sapien, it doesn't mean an adult homo sapien is a person. What's a person? A mature rational being, an adult, a rational being. Why? Because we're logos kids, we're rational sapiens. And just as we know that an adolescent or a child is not yet a grown-up, and people often say, where are the grown-ups in the room? Right, when you use the word, you're simply saying sheeple or P-E-E-P-L-E. We're not trying to be insulting. Persons are sacred. We know that. There's God in every person. But to be a mature person, that all the great wisdom of the planet, all the great scriptures, all the wisdom, enlightenment, right, is calling us to a mature. Leave the caves of ignorance, because our mind is bound by a degraded form of reason. Yeah, we're rational, but you have to mature from an objectified version of mind processing, culture making, self making, politics making, life making, so forth here to a more mature, sacred I thou in the deep space of unum pluribus. Why? Because on the ground floor of being, reality, that's what this is, a field of being. The field, and what's up with that? We could call it God, Yahweh, Allah, Brahman, wow. We can use different names in our different languages.
Mm-hmm.
Science is, and the great first philosophers knew that what is first is infinite, and if it's infinite, it can't be broken. It's infinitely one. That's unum. So a more perfect union doesn't work here because the software of the mind fragments and breaks, and we've had 250 years in the American lab, but we're talking across the planet. We're talking the Middle East. We're talking about Russia. We're talking about India. We're talking China, Africa, everywhere. The human family, insofar as this powerful Google informationized space, whatever name you use for information, here's the information, here's the persons, and we got the screen of awareness. We're processing it here under the labor of this. That's a trance. And it diminishes our personhood. Mm. You're doing very well. And so all the great teachers, all of Buddha, we've seen Buddha's breakthrough to source science, to get to the field of infinite being. He calls it emptiness or shunyata, zeroness, because you can't take these pieces, Lego pieces, and bring them into the logosphere. So you have to change your mind operating process to zone it. Not to talk about it, not to buy into being an entity, an ID, a separate Lego entity. We've said this over and over now. But to break the trance of the software that we haven't seen. To see this takes a great courage and listening to the wisdom of our teachers calling us here, including the founders of 1776. They were tapping into the wisdom. They were tapping the logos. Mm-hmm. Just think of the opening of the Declaration. It's not talking here. It's saying, whatever, in the course of events, evolution, whatever political bands bind us one to another, if it violates our independence, dignity, and freedom, we must separate. That principle of separation echoes across the planet in all the great scriptures. Separate from what? From any unconscious or pre-critical conventions and codes, contracts, or social, whatever you want to say, that holds us in a relationship and creates our institutions in our life. Mm-hmm. And our great teachers say, this is not the best version of us. If we have the USA culture here in this version of people, are we really mature persons? Mm-hmm. Are we, you said it, are we qualified to be a voter, to be a citizen, to take an oath, to what? To Logos, to the infinite source, which is what ethics. The laws are here. Any laws that we may have here, we download everything here. We download scriptures here. We download wisdom here. We download 76 here. But what if the call of our wisdom is saying this is not when we're a full person, a first person? Why? Because we're cut off from what is first. What happens when we make this crossing? Nothing, right? To go from bound people to free range people. If this is demos are the people. This is the polis, the political space, the republic, the place where dialogue flows in unum pluribus. This hologram is showing the map of what we must do now after 250 years in the American lab, but all humans across the planet, all humans have to examine, right? Are we persons? What is a person? A noble, free being in ethics of I and thou and the ecology and the sacred space. That's where the moral law comes from, that becomes a person. And when we take an oath, to whether to the Constitution or to the free land or to any principles, here you can't take a real oath and keep it here. Ethics, vows, oaths, devotion, fidelity, faith, ethics, all of that is what a person is. These are the adults. And I'd like to ask with you, where are the people? This is serious. I mean, not just talking about the America, we the people, we're talking about Europe, we're talking about, UK, we're talking about Canada, we're talking about South America, Africa, Asia, India, China, Russia, all across the planet. Mm-hmm. Even Australia. Where are the people?
Yeah.
Are we first persons?
Yeah.
Keep going, because I'm just elaborating what I've heard you say, and we've been saying, in 9 episodes of 7076 now, in that version, or a more perfect union, You can't have union here. It's clear we can't. We're broken. It's gotten deeper and deeper, the divides and polarization. So what if Abe Lincoln were here, or Jesus, or Buddha, or Krishna, Moses, Muhammad, now, and you ask them a true, false, yes or no question. Yes or no? Are we people here in this space cut off from the source of reality? Or must we make the all-important medical crossing into being a person? A qualified adult in the world.
Yes.
We're asking, where are the adults? Where are the people? Where's the demos? Where are the qualified voters? When you vote, you're using your will to make a decision, to vote, and a choice. Who's qualified to vote? It's a free will to select intelligently, critically, not gullibly, not cultically, not sheepishly. That's what sheep would be. If you're gullible, but if your mind is captured and colonized by software that we have never seen, and it's not, we're not making this up. We're saying the great teachers and scriptures have seen it in one way or the other. They didn't have a code marker. They didn't have this hologram. This is bringing to the fore what has been implicit and operating for 255 years, 250 years. I use that as a metaphor. You know, all our great scriptures and wisdom calling us to make a shift. Jesus is speaking from here. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto God but by this way, the code shift. Jesus is the code, the Logos code, speaking, the Logos in the flesh. Buddha is the Logos code, speaking the Dharma. Krishna is the Om Logos code, speaking the yoga technology, which is what? To cross from here, Arjuna, broken people, to cross into wholeness, integrity, into deep dialogue, I and thou. This relationship, I, other, can't be split. Here, I is split from the other. And we see the other with our lens here, in the way, a worldview, a belief system, or multiple systems and lenses that we can have to see within the space. There's a powerful software that have boundless narratives and worldviews and disciplines and distinctions. That's amazing. This has been too successful in a way. What not?
Oh, I just wanted to have a moment to speak.
No, I'm kidding. I
was raising my hand for the professor.
Okay. Yes, Malcolm. Yeah,
I have a question.
Malcolm, please tell me. I tend to go on. If anyone is viewing our private conversation, they might say, Daddy is speaking too much. Shut up, Dad. You know, the recovering. He's a recovering professor. Not I'm a recovering professor.
I'm a recovering student.
I get carried away. So do stop me.
No, it's good. Everything you're saying is amazing. I just, I've been wanting to really address, from about episode 2 or 3. I think the last 2 episodes. This will be the third. We're using "Promised People," the song "Promised."
Your song's an amazing song.
And when I wrote that song, that would have been 2020, 21, somewhere in there, in the thick of all that was going on at the time. Not that it's really led up, but I wanted to just bring in that point because obviously the biblical story of the promised land and wandering the desert for 40 years, the Jewish people and all of that. It's not to appropriate that language or that symbology, but I think that what everybody at the deepest level, if we go beyond tribalism of any different religion or non-religion or race or anything, what we keep saying is that this is not just the United States. This is the whole planet. The whole planet is the promised land, potentially.
Nice, I like that.
And as we have explored in a couple on I think episode 2 about is anything sacred? Okay, and I think that's like one of the main ways that I would differentiate between the 2 spaces that you're showing down there. In that I-it space where everything is not just the other person is objectified, you're objectifying yourself, and nature is objectified, and everything's objectified. Look at climate change in that lens, for example. It's like, of course we're going to be hurting our environment. We're objectifying it. We objectify everything. We're not treating reality as sacred. It's all the promised land. The promised land is not a a spot on the geography on the map. The promised land is right here, no matter where you are. But in order to be in the promised land, we have to become the promised people. That's what that song's about. That open and
It's
close.
a great song. It should be an anthem for the human family. It should be.
I've been dying to say that for a while because I just don't want it to be mistaken as some kind of cultural or ethnic anthem. But it's what I'm doing is saying we are all potentially the promised people, and everywhere is potentially the promised land. And breaking the trance is about going from that objectifying of the other and everything in ourselves, that software, that malware. Breaking the trance is the anti-malware thing that we're doing here. So it's like an education, it's a practice, it's a 24/7 practice of stepping back from that grip of the single bracket space, the objectified space that puts us all into a kind of fight, flight, freeze sort of space where we are incapacitated to actually make this world better. Because while there are evil doers and evil people, and I do believe that every person holds the sacred seed within them, the sacred light of source, or whatever you want to call that. But I think most people are inherently good, and we want to come. We don't want to be self-destructing as we clearly are. We don't want to be divided down the middle. We don't want to go to civil war. We don't want to kill each other. Yes, there's people that do, but I think overall we're all wanting to rise to that higher space. And we can't get out of that lower space where we think everything is like, well, then whose opinion is going to win? Whose ideology is going to win? Whose narrative is going to win? And we can't see that there's a space that's deeper and higher than ideologies and opinions. And so when we can start to, I'm asking the question as I throw it back to you, what is it going to take in the fight, flight, freeze, panic that seems to be slowly ramping up all the time and now more and more quickly? And we know that when the nervous system is in that space, we're not able to hear, we're not able to listen, we're in panic, you know? That's why they say everybody stay calm, single file, you know? It's like, because if you don't get a hold of that panic, it's just chaos, and we become our own most destructive force. So what I'm asking you as I throw it back to you is, having said that, okay, everywhere is the promised land. The whole planet is the promised land. Every person is the potential promised person who is a citizen, a true citizen of that sacred space. What is it going to take to arrest the panic, to pause it, to everybody, step back, deep breath. Where we are most powerful is right where we sit or right where we stand, in that making that continuous shift into sacred space, right where we are, and to help each other all rise into that space, and to opt out of the insanity that is all around us, because we can fill the streets and protest, and that may well be what happens. But if we all fill the streets, but we're still in the mind prison, and we haven't emancipated ourselves from mental slavery, as Bob Marley would say, then what are we doing? It'd be like a zombie protest. We don't want to be zombies protesting. We want to be persons. So that's the question that really engages me right now. Like, what's it going to take to break the trance by way of saying, whoa, Nelly, everybody pause and breathe and listen, because it's right here, and we do hold the power. The people hold the power, but not the sheeple.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that question. That's quite a question. But it's in a way, it's been addressed for millennia. If you stopped and asked Jesus or Moses or Buddha or Krishna, Lao Tzu, just to mention a few, Muhammad, right? Any of the geniuses, the first responders who were trying to get us to what's first, and all saw the urgency of leaving a place of suffering and human existential breakdown and all the pathologies of nihilism, skepticism, lack of having understanding, deep critical awareness, not to be a critical thinker, but to be gullible and hackable, and so forth, and narcissism and suicidal ideation, all of the pathologies that are going on by being cut off From the great wisdom keepers would say, when you say pause, how do you go from here, immersed here, to there? How do you go from here to there? And I just, again, brought this up. Here, everyone here, here's a hologram, but you're being held. That's why this is the infinite source of presence. Whether you call it God, or Logos, or Sophia, or Om, or Brahman, Shunyata, whatever name, the Buddha Dharma,
yeah.
yeah, whatever you call it, right? It's holding us. Being, we cannot be without being. But if we are colonized in our derivative form of reason and language by software that we don't know yet, how do we break this barrier? How do we break this barrier? All the wisdom, when we do, we're being held here. So everyone is already here. So how do we do this? Your question is, how do we see? If we don't see that we're in a software that holds us captive and colonizes our life, we're already hacked. And in a way, Buddha would say it's consensual, folks. It's consensual, and maybe involuntary, but we have a choice. People always say we have a choice. What is it? The Buddha's fourth noble truth is we have a choice. One, we can step back and see this, become critical, when you say pause, step back, be silent, time out, step back. Like, what the 1776 founders in the first opening line of the Declaration says, whatever arrangements we have politically, that if it's holding us and cutting us off from our sacred, dignified independence, that's independence. This is imprisonment. We have to be free people. We have to become a demos to be a democracy. So we have a choice. So what is that? To be a critical thinker, pause, reason, the journey of reason from derivative reason, adolescent reason, to mature, deep dialogue, human reason, from going to being human here to mature adult person. So people are persons. That's a big deal to be a person. Mm-hmm. It's a mature, rational, free agent. How do you do that? You're asking. And I'm saying, if we invited our great, for example, first thinkers, like Buddha and Krishna and Moses and Jesus and Muhammad, and allowed to, and not just to mention a few, right? And they would look at the political situation on the planet, across the human family, suffering under this uncritical, colonized form of being an imprisoned human to become free. What would they say to break your trance? To answer, I think they'd call from a Lego strike, a code strike. Yeah. They would call for a code strike. Mm-hmm. Stop. When you say, if some people are saying in the USA right now, and we may be, but I'm just pointing to the USA for a moment, but I can imagine this in every nation and group of people around the planet. Where it's like, stop, pause, time out, turn off the channel. Turn off the screen. Turn off the software. Stop. Protest. It's a consciousness boycott, a code cut. Mm-hmm. Not a boycott. Who cares what voice? Stop the code. Look at it. Stop back. Imagine, let's use the American lab again. Instead of calling for an economic freeze, don't buy anything today. Right? Nice. You said you don't want to be just zombies protesting with a kind of panic. Things are bad. It's falling apart. The civil war deepens. We don't feel empowered. Where's the consent of the governed? It doesn't matter anymore. We're not free people. We're not people. When playful to say, if you're gullible and trapped and colonized, if we're colonized, if the human family is colonized, how do we face it? We don't see it because we're seeing here. Under the code makes us see. So how do we see the code? That's the critical term. Mm-hmm. You can't, there's not information, talk about it. Narrated here, but so the meditation art is to be mindful. Mm-hmm. All right here, be mindful. That's when you start to become a person, an adult. From being pre-mindful, unmindful to mindful. What's that? You're checking out your software. You say, wow, this has been leading my culture, this has been leading my life for generations. My religious life, my political life, my love life, my family life, my children, education, disciplines, my science, everything here. So your question is amazing. What would our great leaders, elders say, including if we got Jefferson and a few of the other founders, men and women, founders, our founding fathers and mothers here, in the room with Jesus, Buddha, Moses, Krishna, and I said, please give us some advice. What do you see? I know you speak different languages and all that, right? But I think they would agree. And I suggested this 10, 15 years ago to a very high-level group called Evolutionary Leaders, right? We formed. And I was one of the co-founding persons with them. So very impressive thought leaders, best-selling authors, and so forth. Evolutionary leaders, right? What is the evolution? It's not in here, or conscious evolution is not being conscious here. It's being conscious of this. And I said at one point, there was an attempt to think if we went to Washington and got funded, what would we do in protest? And I, very quietly suggested with a colleague, call a Lego code strike. An ego strike, a Lego strike. Lego meaning the culture in which we're breaking everything into Lego pieces, not Logos flow and community. Imagine in the American lab, people realizing, okay, let's listen to Nathaniel, Nathan, right? Forget about me, okay? I'm what do you call those older generation people? You're
a boomer. You're a total boomer, yeah.
I'm a total boomer, and you're a bloomer, okay?
No, I think I'm a boomer too, actually.
I mean, we're saying to the young kids that I'm teaching at Haverford College, for all these decades, is the Gen Z need to now become Zenji. Wow, that really gets them. The Zen generation. Well, what is Zen? Mindful. Mm-hmm. Grow up, kids. Come on, right? We can get all the education, information here. Graduate. Yeah, okay. Keep it going. Keep the machine going. But your point is, what does it take to break the trance? You got to see it. So when you say, let's stop everything. If I were, in terms of, it's not activism here, it's active vision. Active vision is opening up the global hologram lens of the wisdom of the planet and scriptures, right? When you say, wow, they're not separated silos, all of these great scriptures and wisdom, enlightenments across the planet. They're held together by the infinite word, the source of the infinite word, whatever your name is. All the God words come from here. Or even the not God words. This is the unified field of being. The field of being, ontology, science. This is science we're talking about now. Mm-hmm. Source science, medical science. Why is it medical? Because it's seeing that we're suffering here. Mm-hmm. Derivative people, colonized people, right? I'm not free, and we're suffering, and we don't know how to diagnose it. We need a deeper science diagnostic to see it. And what would you do then? Everyone stop. Let's have a code strike. Mm-hmm. Try it. Now, it's not just don't buy anything, right? That's very laudable, but it's not going to do, right? It's not going to get us to go from a derivative form of people, because once the ultimate human revolution and evolution is to become people, to become free range in the open space, to break this barrier, to decolonize. And this is the bless you. We've got to see the code and decode and freeze. And one of the greatest, most potent political acts, and this is the point that came out in our pre-conversations. People here are impotent, ultimately, in this respect. Colonize, we neutralize. We don't have the power. And when we realize we are powerful, many people say that. What scares us is not that we're tiny and small, Lego units, but that we're noble and powerful.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And have the power. When that happens not across the planet, then we're in the promised land, and we realize it's not geography. The earth here is rather constrained, but the earth, the trans-earth, the human space, it's not geography. It's holography. It's ontology. It's being. It's literacy. It's coming into the logos, becoming the first version of ourselves. Let's become people. And then we are the power. What power? This is powerful. Mm-hmm. Don't mess with it.
Yeah.
With Yahweh or Allah or Brahman or Om or Ta. No, you can't. You get fried. So we're hiding. It's scary to become a person.
In the best way possible, yes. scary.
When you think of the implications now, I want to throw this back to you, right? If there are two versions of culture and becoming human, and here we're pre-literate in a way, and here we're tapped in to the logos code, the rational code of critical thinking. We're mature rational beings now. We can take an oath. We can be a free-thinking consent of the governed here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If that's the case, think about it for a moment. What does it mean about immigrants? Who are the immigrants?
Mm.
Who's going to migrate? Is mass deportation? And what is having a passport to go from this port, right, and to have the code to shift out of this into the free land, source land of the people across the planet, to discover the sacred earth.
To get naturalized.
It's not land. I throw the ball to you. I'm speaking too long. You follow me again?
Good. Yeah.
Am I addressing your point?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love the code strike, because that's what I want to say. Like, we don't want to keep on doing single bracket activism and activism from a disempowered space, a desourced space is dead in the water. And so it's the intentions may be so right, but gosh, it's almost like a trap door effect, or like a secret. We're trying to make it not secret, but it's like a loophole in the system, when we keep on putting the things out there first, but without breaking the trance. And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love this idea of the code strike, this ego strike, and
there you go, Lego strike, yeah.
Lego strike, in other words, stop being a Lego, stop being a piece, stop being an objectified unit, because you can put a bunch of Legos together and connect them, but it's just inherently breakable and separatable. There's a deeper space of connection. There's a deeper we the people that is unbreakable, that requires all of us to, instead of, like you said earlier, we download it all to where we are. We download it all into the Google information space. When we say Google, by the way, we're not dissing on Google. We're just, because Google is such a, it's synonymous with the information age of being able to look up anything you want.
We're honoring it as being, the technology that accelerated the information. We're not.
Yeah, you can look
putting this down. We're not putting this down.
Yeah, but can you Google happiness? No, you can't. You can't Google happiness. You can't Google well-being. You can't Google God in the deepest sense. You can't Google yoga. You can't Google we the people. In other words, there's a deeper space that is not information-based, and we're so used to pulling it down, downloading as opposed to upgrading.
Nice, I like that. Yeah,
that's I want to kind of get that idea. Oh my gosh, we're still downloading. We're still trying to, and we're downloading democracy, and we're even downloading things like peace and love and all these things that we revere. But what it requires is a deep letting go, which a moment ago when you said it's scary, and I said in the best possible way. Yes, we want to say, when we say scary, we want to say it's powerful. There's something that you got to let go of. There's a passage. There's a letting go, a shedding, a getting humble. These things are scary to us when we found our safety. Ironically, the thing that's keeping us feeling safe is actually what's suffocating us and asphyxiating us and is creating the sense of danger, is what we've come to know as familiar and safe. And so there's, in that sense, in letting go of the fear is scary, but in the best possible way. So yeah, that's
classic. Yeah. No, you're doing really well.
You're finding your true self. You're finding you're rising to the space of love. It's what you've always wanted. You just didn't know that that's what you wanted. You got distracted by the shiny objects, good and bad. In front of you and behind you. We're running towards and running from, and we're not happy here. And we haven't realized that happiness is direct access to our true selves and
well-being. Happiness is well-being. Yes.
Imagine the people en masse getting that. Yeah.
And the great teacher said, "This is life."
Yeah.
And there's something about being cut off from source of life that brings a kind of that your meter's running out, dying, death, aging, falling apart. And when Jesus, for example, is saying, "I am the life, I'm the way, I'm the truth," and Krishna is saying, "This is life when you join me, Arjuna. When you come and join me in yoga, technology, and cross over."
It'll save you from great harm. Yeah.
Yeah, from great harm. And Socrates, when we leave the cave and come into the logos to know thyself, it's scary to be opening up to the light. Right? All the great teachers knew this. You don't write the name of God. You don't write it in this language. Don't download the infinite into the finite. We're controlling it. We're control freaks.
Mm-hmm.
Addicted to as you said, we think we have familiarity and safety and control. We're controlling the game. No, you're not. You can see it's melting down and deconstructing in front of you. The walls are tumbling down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason scientifically, medically, it's going to happen because this is going to crumble. It's
And
going
that's
to
AI. That's AI. Everyone's talking about the AI that we created, but
AI cannot
we're
get
already
you
in AI. Yeah.
AI here cannot get you there.
Yeah.
This is free. This is when you're in the deeper or dilated logos global lens of intelligence and rationality and rational life and rational capacity. What we're saying is enormous. I think maybe now in the next episode 6, we might talk about what is it to be an immigrant. In the USA lab, for example, we're all immigrants, except the first peoples, but everyone is an immigrant in the sense that if you haven't made this rite of passage into the free land to be first people here, these are the first people. Where are they? So in this episode, we said, where are the people? Who are and where are the people? Where's the demos? If demos here, it can't be a demosocracy. The demos are mature persons, adults in the room. Which room? This room. Not adolescents. We're not putting out adolescents. We're recognizing that adolescents have to grow up and become mature, full, primary beings. And all the great philosophers says, tap being. This is unbeing. This is pre-being. This is unbeing. Come to full being, which is what? Well-being, happiness, life, flourishing, love, ethics, dialogue, science, all of that, democracy. So there are 2 USAs.
Sounds pretty good.
USA here, but USA.
Yeah.
So in Martin Luther King,
Or any country. Yeah.
or any country, right? Liberté, égalité, fraternité, the French Revolution. All the people. When Gandhi is attempting to liberate India, the people of India, and it got broken, it split, right? Something happened. We couldn't yet make it, even though the resources of Indian wisdom and source science, Vedic science, and Buddha science are so profound. And yet it's been downloaded in the wrong place mostly. The people have to migrate. Everyone across the planet are now on Ellis Island. We better stop. Think about that.
Yeah.
Have we gained the right of citizenship and personhood and the capacity to take an oath of office to the Constitution, which is not here? The Constitution, the Declaration, is calling us here. That's where the people in the USA, I'm using the USA example, but liberté, égalité, fraternity, the French Revolution, if you say it here, you haven't done it. All of our attempted human revolutions, right, laboring within the space, have not been able to cross together into the sacred earth.
Yeah.
We're living on a thing that we haven't discovered the planet.
Yeah.
So climate change is not titanic to this earth, but becoming earthful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're lost track of time now.
I was just going to say, I think that's a perfect place to wrap it for today. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
But I love the way you dance with that now. They did really well.
Thanks.
I'm sorry if I get carried away.
No,
You got to raise your hand.
we keep each other in check. It's good. It's fine.
Okay, thank you.
But
So again, not that we want everyone across the planet to join us in this journey with love and attention, and we're calling a planetary code strike. Everybody, step back for a moment. Stop, and listen. Stop, look, and listen. Open your mind, open your ears, open your heart. You have a heart, but your heart here has got some obstructions in it.
yeah,
The heart mind is here.
I'll put a link to my music site. Well, I guess I kind of do, but I invite you to check it out and go listen to the full song. You know what I should do is I should have my lyrics on my website. I'm going to work on that. But you can listen, you can hear a lot of the songs. But Promised People, I want you to listen to that in light of what we've done today, and
Good.
And we invite you to join us in this deeper kind of uprising, more immediate.
That's why you call it human up. Human up.
Yeah.
Human up. TV and all that. Human up. Go from this version of the human to the mature, fulfilled, well-being human.
Yes.
Enjoy the rights of life, liberty, well-being.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Dad.
Thank you, Nathan. And I just want to say in closing to anyone who's listening in on this, please consider checking out Nathan for personal or small group life coaching in this literacy. It's life and death. It's important. He's a master coach, so he'll give you a link.
I'll put the link there.
if you're interested, I'm giving him an endorsement with all my heart, because he's been doing this for years. He's a first philosopher. He sings from this place, he brings lyrics from this place, he teaches yoga from this place, and he coaches from this place. He's a master teacher. So if you're interested in learning and getting the code education with him, and to go on a code strike and upgrade your life, I endorse Nathan. Please sign up with him for private tutorials.
Thank you. And I'll just add to that it's not something where you're getting new information. It's more like you already have this in you. It's just eclipsed and it's blocked, and it's like opening up. I can help you find your access code to your higher self, if you want to put it that way, your true nature, your true self, your free self, and that's really invaluable. So if that interests you, again, just click on the link below and come check it out. I'd love to work with you, even if you're not local to where I am. We can work anywhere in the world online. So
this is a call to all the people across the planet. And when we say people, we mean all the people of the planet, the human family. Yeah. Across all borders. That's what we're talking about. Please join us again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Everybody worldwide. We are the promised people. We are the people. Yes, so welcome to the promised land.